Do you think that Delap and Gittins is enough to get you into a title race? That's my genuine question.
Bro, for me,
just say no, Don. Just say no.
This is the thing, Dan. He's going to convince you.
Hold on, let me finish. I think it's enough to get top 4. We could potentially challenge with that as well, to be fair. Like, if Gittins is used the way I think he's going to be used, with Palmer starting on that side, for example, and he's going into the midfield and Gittins comes off the bench. But for me to actually want to challenge, I'm looking at bringing in a Kudus, for example. I think that would actually make us challenge a lot more. You know what I'm trying to say? Right? And Madueke right now.
I like both of them signings. I think they're both project players because they're both young. I don't think they're ready now. I actually genuinely believe Chelsea, right? Real talk this summer would have gone, we're in for Gyökeres. We want Rodrigo. We're going to go for an Eze or Kudus. We're going to go and get Mark
statement. Yeah.
We're going to
go earlier when I was talking
Petrovic and all these man in goal. That's what I genuinely thought Chelsea were going to do. Goalkeeper that you think, wow, maybe Emi Martinez. Go into defense, go Mark Guehi.
Martinez, man. Why do we overrate this guy, man?
Who?
People like to overrate this guy like he's world class.
That's besides the point, though. What Dan Potts was saying is that you go out there and be ambitious and get players that you know are proven at the level required, that are experienced, and they can take you to that title race. Difference makers, take those jumps. What you're doing now is you're signing players that may be better, but they may not be that much better. They're like a diagonal step rather than a forward step. That's what you guys are doing.
You can say that, George. Yeah,
no, wait, no. Give me a second. You've gone on and you went on about how this reason for your signings, yeah?
No, go on. Because you don't get Rocky over big
every other time. But Don, I don't get, like, we've gone through this. Last year, this year, whoever you sign, you're gonna gas up. That's fine. We appreciate that. I get that. That's
a lie. That's a lie.
You're talking about how these profiles work, this profile, but ultimately, profiles don't cover experience and proven quality. It doesn't. You can have the profile of Ibrahimovic. I heard someone say earlier, Sesko's Ibrahimovic profile, because they're 6'4". That's why they're saying they've got the same profile. That's it. And that's what people do. So you can say Bino Gittins is this profile, he's going to shoot more and so on. It's a similar profile to Madueke, and guess what's similar about them? They don't score goals. He scored 14 goals, 12 goals, 12 goals in 50 games, 12 goals in 50 games last year. So I'm not saying he's a bad player, but ultimately, you guys should have went out there and done what Dan just said, would test. Like, let's be real. If you went, oh yeah, I forget Pedro Neto, forget Gittins, I'd chuck £105 million at Real Madrid for Rodrigo. You test their resolve. That's what you guys should have done. What you guys used to do. You test clubs' resolves by chucking big fees at them, seeing how much that they want this big star player, a big star player that takes your team to the next level. And that's where the problem with Chelsea is right now. Again, I'm saying this is like a rival. The signings you guys make don't scare me. So I'm fine. I'm thinking I'm going into the season. I'm fine. Wait, and it's the same thing.
They don't scare me.
But listen. Don,
you want rivals. Exactly what I want.
What Don will do there?
That's exactly what I want.
In a few weeks.
Let me just say something.
What you'll do in a few weeks is say I actually rate your signings, but are they needle movers? Are they marquee signings? No. I think us in City are looking at Chelsea thinking we're not threatening. You're saying that's what you want. I rate Delap. I rate João Pedro. Gittins I've not watched much of, but I rate João Pedro and Delap. I'll say
Can I ask you a question, Jules?
They're not going to bring you to a league. That's my point. You need a marquee signing.
Let me ask Jules a question, because I've spoken to Potts already about the numbers needed up top in attack here. So you're talking about spending 105 million on Rodrigo, right? The GNA.
That's an example.
That's an example. But Rodrigo is one of the elite players available right now, right? Cool. Now let me ask you a question. Do you believe that Rodrigo by himself would put up more numbers than João Pedro and Gittins together?
Yes, I do in the Premier League. Well, maybe if you do all competitions, it might not, because all competitions I don't give a fuck. In the Premier League, in the competition that does matter, I believe that Rodrigo. Wait. You asked me a question. I'll finish. Okay. Again, you asked me a question. Let me finish. Okay.
Can I interject? Talk about his numbers. Someone said in the comments quickly, why are you scared of us? You're all the way down in 16.
Okay, that's fine. I'm the team that won Europa League. You're the team that won the Conference League. So when we're doing this, know who you're talking to. We're both in the Champions League next season, so we can see the levels of where teams are really at. I'm not really afraid of Chelsea. So again, when you actually say, let's do the numbers, let's do the number breakdown. Why didn't you do the number breakdown for them? No, you didn't do the number breakdown for both of the players you signed. So I don't want to hear your number breakdown on Rodrigo. How about that? For second of all, we all seen Rodrigo's quality. You're not going to come here and tell me Rodrigo won't do this, Rodrigo won't do that. Rodrigo's playing for Real Madrid on the opposite side than to what he actually does play at. Again, has not been the main man, but still managed to put up numbers. But forget the numbers. We see him in the biggest moments, him turn up and step out for Real Madrid. He's not going to come to Chelsea, be the go-to man, and be one of the first players that he's going to first attacking options and not put up at least 10 to 15 goals in the Premier League and at least around 10 assists. I see this is a 20 to 25 GA player in the Premier League, Rodrigo. When you're talking about Pedro and Bino Gittins, I don't think they get 25 GA in the Premier League together. I don't. Okay, I'll be surprised. How about this? Pedro has never had a 20 GA season in the Premier League. His highest season was 9 goals last year. 6 of them or 5 of them. I'm a big fan of Pedro. I'm a big fan of his, but the majority of his goals were penalties. They were penalties last year. So when you talk about these players, Bino Gittins and Pedro, they will not put up the numbers that Rodrigo does. They just won't.
Yeah. Okay, listen, and that's where I disagree with you, man. That's where I disagree with you, man. That's what I disagree with you, bro.
Who's getting Kurdistan? That's what I want to know. We don't even know.
He hasn't got an argument back. That's why he said okay. He realized.
You've given your take. Let the people decide, innit? You know what I'm saying?
What I will say though is it's not all about the glamour names, you know. Like Delap
exactly.
He could cook and he could score 15 goals, and then all of a sudden,
there's many examples of this though, because even last summer I was so reluctant of signing Omarodian. I kept telling you lot, the guy's got.
You did say that.
I told you lot, he's got a touch of a trampoline because Jules likes to say, anyone wants to sign, I'm all for it. I said I don't want Omarodian. I was against this guy.
You know he had a decent year.
He had a better year than Jackson. How about that? He had a better year than Jackson.
If we signed him, we would have been closer to you, man. Because he would have actually been a better striker for us.
That's his name.
Let me go through the names, Saeed. Let me go through the names, right? There's Cole Palmer, There's fucking Duran. There's Omarodian, There's Bacola. You know what I'm saying? There's so many guys, that these lot have found who, at first, Jules is talking the way he is. Then 6 months later, why don't you go sign this guy then? Why do you go sign that guy then? The same guy that we were trying to sign before.
He said Rodrigo.
You lot are too obsessed. You lot are too obsessed with big names. Yeah, you get too rocky over big names. You know what I'm saying? I don't view the game like that. I care more about profiles. And if the big names suits the profile as well, that's a plus, right? But if we sign a player that many guys are like, I'm not sure about him, I'll just do my local research on him, see what he can bring to the team, and we'll go from there, bro. I done told guys Palmer's gonna fucking cook. The guy's got over 70 GA in 2 seasons. You know what I mean? So, I'm not here just saying,
who's signing Kurdistan? We still don't know,
bro. If we want him, we'll get him. There we go.
We got him.
Fight and talk, man. Fight and talk.
If we want him, we will get him. So when you don't sign him, you'll say we didn't want him. This is just like, what are we doing here? Buzzwords. We're doing buzzwords. What does Lee Gunnar say? Market opportunities. That's what this is what he's doing. Don't talk about the market opportunities.
Yeah, man. People need to just, you know what I mean? Like, big names aren't everything. That's what I'm gonna say, innit? They're great on paper and that, but bro, open your mind up.
Rodrigo's not a big name. He's a superstar player.
There's a difference.
No, but when you're saying no, but let's differentiate. A big name and a superstar are different. He's a player.
He's not a superstar.
And when I say superstar, I mean he comes into Chelsea and he's their biggest player and their best player. He is. He's a superstar player.
He's not better than Palmer. Hold on. He's not better than Palmer. He's not. George, calm down.
If Rodrigo comes into Chelsea, he's their number one creative option.
Real Madrid have got a superstar on the bench apparently now. What are you talking about?
He's a big Real Madrid, yes, they do. Man City have superstars on the bench.
Sorry, Rodrigo ain't a superstar, bro. We're just using these terms lightly. Like, I'm sorry, he's not a superstar. He's a very good player. He's a world class, bro.
I'd say he's on the brink. He's on the brink. If he's not world class, he's on the brink. So he's a superstar. He's not world class. He's a superstar.
Hold on. How can you be a superstar but not be world class? That don't make sense.
What do you mean? Because I feel like he doesn't get to prove his world class. For one, he actually doesn't get to prove his world class ability due to not starting for Real Madrid. If you play for Real Madrid, you can be a superstar and not be world class. Just like if you play for Man City, you can be. There's only a few clubs in the world where you can sit on the bench and still be a star player.
You're easily pleased. I'm sorry, bro. When I'm looking,
you just don't know what a star player is, because you think Bino Gittins and Pedro is better than having Rodrigo. That's you.
No, I do know.
Because profile. You watch too much Wyscout, bro. You watch too much Wyscout to make you think a profile is more important than a star player.
I literally had a star player at my club. I literally had Eden Hazard at my club.
You know what it is in football, yeah?
We
don't know what overrated is. We don't know what world class is. We don't know what superstar is. We need to define these guys, because right now, George has said, yo, he's not world class, but he's a superstar. You know what I mean? So we need to just be
star player, isn't it?
If you play for Madrid, flipping, what's that guy playing at Real Madrid? Is he a superstar? The super sub that they had last year?